So you created a vision board last year. You did all the things that everyone says you're supposed to do. You wrote out all your goals, you manifested, you visualized, and yet on December 31st, 2023, you still felt like you had achieved literally nothing that you wanted to. Yeah, same. But it's okay, because this video is going to explain to you why your vision boards are not working and how you can fix that in the future. Hi, my name is Jordan. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. It's good to see y'all. I want to preface this video by saying that my cat has been very needy for like the past hour, so he's probably going to make an appearance on screen. He's off camera right now, but he's in the vicinity. Just be warned. Anyways, my name is Jordan. I make music content on YouTube, but I also do other miscellaneous videos, vlogs here and there. And another thing that I like to do, especially during the January month or February month, beginning of the year essentially, is to make videos that are kind of about wellness and achieving your goals. Last year I made a 22 things I learned in 2022 video, which is still to this day one of my favorite videos on my channel, and it was just explaining so many lessons that I've learned in the past year or two. It was just explaining lessons that I've learned in the past year or two and how I plan to bring that into the new year with me. And I didn't. I tried. All in all, 2023 was a great year for me, but there were definitely things that were on my list of goals for the year that I didn't achieve or didn't achieve in the way that I wanted to. And I think that's very normal, but that's not the goal, is it? The goal is to achieve our goals in exactly the way we want to. And hopefully with these tips, I can do that better this year, and so can you. So I made notes. This is serious, you guys. I took notes. I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys short and sweet rules or just guidelines to achieve your goals this year, because if you're anything like me, like those hour-long videos about how to achieve your goals and be a better you, like I can't sit through all of that. And honestly, I feel like a lot of it is common sense. Like we all know what we should be doing, we just don't do it. And so hopefully this just helps you figure out a way to achieve your goals sustainably and in a way that you can continue throughout the whole year and not just the first couple of months. So the first piece of advice that I have is your goals are probably too specific. Now, I do think it's very important to go very in depth with yourself and figure out what your goals are, how you want to achieve them, and everything like that. But I feel like sometimes being too specific restricts you. You know what I mean? Like if you say, by March, I want to have this amount of money, or I want to have lost this many pounds, lose this many pounds, like that guideline or that structure just might be too restricting. It just might be too tight for you to actually achieve that in the given amount of time that you give yourself. Nobody knows what their year is going to entail, and so you can't just make these like dates or these numbers that you think you need to achieve in a certain amount of time or in a certain way, because it just won't be sustainable and it won't be reliable. Like if I come into January and I'm like, okay, by April, I'm going to finally buy that new house that I wanted, and that's my goal. It's going to be this house on that street, and it's going to have this color window, and it's going to have this floor plan, whatever, whatnot. It is most likely not going to pan out exactly the way you describe it. And I know people do like the manifesting thing, like say things specifically how you want them. I think that's great and dandy if that works for you. It has never worked for me. Things always happen for me in a way that I didn't expect. And sometimes it works out for the better, honestly. If you get too boggled down on every little detail, you'll lose the main aspect of what you actually want to attain. In the same thread though, your goals might be too vague. If you don't actually look within yourself and understand what your goal is and figure out how you want to do it or what you want to do, it will make it that much harder to actually achieve. Like if I say, oh, this year I want to be healthier. What does healthier mean? Do you mean that you want to watch less TV? Do you mean that you want to go for runs every day? Do you mean that you want to eat clean? Like what does healthy mean to you? You need to describe it and visualize it for yourself and write that down. So if your goal is to, for example, eat healthier in 2024, then you need to say like, okay, to achieve this goal, I'm going to eat out no more than twice a week, or I'm going to go to the gym 5 times, whatever it might be. But you don't want your goal to be so big that you can get lost in it. The next reason why you probably didn't achieve your goals last year or the year before that is you forget your goals by March. Listen, goals that you made in December are probably not at the forefront of your mind in March when you're in the middle of midterm season, or when you're in the thick of work and you're tired and you just want it to be summer already. You're probably not thinking about those as heavily as you were on January 1st or February 1st even. You need to have constant reminders of what your goals are in order to make them happen. I think this is one that I'm decently okay with, or at least last year I really stayed on top of remembering my goals. I'll get into this when I share with you how I vision board and how I keep track of my goals throughout the year. But one thing in particular that I did every month was I just journaled about how I felt about my goals and what I was doing to achieve those goals, the progress that I was making. And I do think that I could have checked those goals out more, because just doing the journaling at the end of every month wasn't enough for me to like actually remember, like, okay, you said you wanted to do this, you said you wanted to do that. Like, talking about it at the end of the month, it kind of made me upset sometimes, because I felt disappointed that I wasn't putting as much effort into one thing as I was another. And that's because I simply wasn't reminding myself that I wanted to achieve both of those things. You know what I mean? Like, I had goals to start up a Pinterest last year, and I wanted to grow my socials in general, but I also wanted to start up socials on things like Pinterest. And so while I was being very consistent with YouTube, I was neglecting Pinterest at the end of every month, and I was realizing that, and I was like, oh shoot, I completely forgot that I even really wanted to make this Pinterest and start posting things there. And because I wasn't repeatedly reminding myself, like, this is something that you want, like, keep track of that, I feel like it kind of got put to the back burner. And that's not good. You want to remember your goals so you can actually do them. You can't do something if you're not thinking about it. And if you're like me, it's very easy to get overwhelmed sometimes. And when that happens, it is easy to lose sight of your goals. And I don't know, I just feel like having a constant reminder of that will benefit you in the future. But more on that later. Save that one, remember that one. Number 4 of reasons why you did not achieve your goals last year. You probably set very unrealistic goals. This is one that I'm also very guilty of. I think in this day and age where we see so many people posting things like, I grew my account from 0 followers to 10 million subscribers, or whatever it might be, in a year. Or people are like, how I lost 100 pounds in 1 year, or whatnot. It's easy to think that, like, oh, they were on the extreme side of this goal achievement. I can also do that. Like, who's to say I can't get 10 million subscribers in 1 year? Like, if they did it, I can do it too. And while that is very true, it is not the case for everybody. Those people are generally outliers. Not everybody is losing 70, 100 pounds per year, or in 1 year. Not everybody is going viral. When you're not in a space like that where you're just rapidly achieving your goals, where it happens overnight essentially, it's easy to get disappointed, and it's easy to feel like you're kind of failing, which I'm very guilty of. But I also feel like it's an opportunity to take time and really understand, like, how you want to grow, how you want to change. Like, okay, I'm not dropping 50 pounds per month, but I'm still eating healthy, I'm still taking time and doing things for myself, and I'm losing a pound a month, like, whatever it may be. Like, I feel like that's good enough. That's good enough. And you don't need to set these unrealistic goals and kind of have these plans for yourself that just aren't attainable, because you'll get to the end of the year and you'll go over your goals that you had for that year and you'll be like, wow, I really did not do well in this. And that's not even true. You can remember mid-June that you wanted to have like 10,000 subscribers and you're like at half of that or whatever, or what, even lower than half, and you could just be like, I'm never going to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. Like, that's just not plausible. And then from there you might start to give up or start to get discouraged. That's not good. That's not good. This is another thing, like, about how I was saying for number one, your goals are too specific. I just feel like when you add numbers to the mix, like, it kind of is like a stopwatch or a clock ticking in your brain, and that's not good, especially for our anxious girlies. That is not good for us. We do not need that constant reminder that we want to achieve something by a certain point in time and we're nowhere near that. It's just not cool. It's just not cool. Don't set unrealistic goals. Look at yourself, look at where you are, think about what effort you can do. Think about how much you can put into this. How often can you be consistent with it? How much can you do when you get burnt out? Like, think about that, and then from there set your goal. The last reason why your vision board did not work or you did not achieve your goals in 2023 was probably because you did not want it bad enough. This one's calling me out. This one's calling me out. And I don't even think it's that you didn't want it. I'm sure if you wrote it down, it's something that you felt passionately about or something that you had thought about for a while. But I think a lot of times we structure our goals around other people's goals. Everybody's goal in the new year is to be healthy. Everybody's goal in the new year is to travel. But until you sit down and you think about, why do I want this though for me, you're not going to achieve those goals. And that's why setting intentions is so important. Why do you want to travel? Where do you want to go? Why is that place important to you specifically? Or why do you want to be healthier? What are you going to do to make sure that your lifestyle is the best it can be for you specifically? Not the Pilates princess who goes to reformer Pilates 6 times a week and drinks matcha and does all that stuff. You don't even like matcha. Why do you want to drink matcha if you don't even like it? You know what I mean? It's just about sitting down and reasoning with yourself and figuring out, what do I want, why do I want it, and how will I get it? Last thing, I wanted to show you guys my personal vision board. Sorry if you hear the creaking upstairs. Lots of walking going on. But I wanted to show you guys my vision board from last year and also my vision board from this year. So I'll just insert pictures of those on the screen. I don't know where they'll go. Maybe they're over here. But I made these vision boards on Pinterest. The one from 2023, I took the photos from Pinterest, but I made it on this website called The Landing. I used that to make a bunch of vision boards last year, and then I never used it again. But it's actually a really cool website. I saw it on TikTok in 2022, and I thought it was really cool. It kind of fell off a little bit, but definitely check that out if you're interested in seeing other people's boards, and people do really cute stuff on there. It's very cute. But this year I just made my vision board on Canva. It was just easiest. That's where I make my YouTube thumbnails, so I've got the lay of the land now. But last year I feel like I was more so focused on making the most aesthetic vision board that I could and including broad scopes of my goals, you know what I mean? Whereas this year I feel like I actually took the time, and I'll get into this in a second, but I took the time to write out 6 or 7 goals, and then I went on Pinterest and I intentionally looked for images that looked like those goals for me. One of my goals is to release music this year, and so I had a photo of this birthday photo shoot, which is it's secret, but that's an idea that I want to implement in my album covers or whatever I do this year. It's a picture that I've been looking at for a long time to inspire me for photo shoots that I want to do. So I included that image. I included pictures of a recording booth, a recording studio, of a girl sitting at a piano because I want to write more this year. I included photos of Whole Foods, and because I want to eat cleaner this year. I want to eat food that comes from the dirt more instead of overly processed food and stuff like that. You know, just really getting intentional about what you want, and then finding images that not necessarily are the most aesthetic, but match you and your goals. And you can still find cute photos and aesthetic photos, and I hate using aesthetic as an adjective. It's not an adjective, but you can find photos that fit your aesthetic and they'll still be cute and they'll still be fun, but also are specific and go with you. So last year, something that I did, and I did this again, I'm going to do this again this year, like I was saying earlier, is I created, like, I use Notion. If you don't use Notion, you can do Google Docs, or you could even write all of this in a journal. It's probably way better to write it out physically, because you can actually get a sense of what you're putting on paper. I think if you can handwrite something, you should always do that. But me personally, I hate handwriting stuff now. I used to do it a lot in high school, and I was also a cheerleader in high school, so my wrists are kind of shot. And so whenever I write for too long a period of time, I get really bad wrist pain. I don't know if that's just me. I don't know if that's normal, but I'm probably gonna have carpal tunnel at some point in my life because my wrists are so bad. But if you can, write it in a journal if you want to write it in a journal. If not, if you're like me, make a digital journal. That's another thing that I do. Like I said, I use Notion, but you could use literally Google Docs. You could use your Notes app, whatever you want to do. Like, in my Notion, I just have this one like tab called 2023 where I kept a list of my goals, and then I kept monthly updates, and then my vision board. So my broad goals, like if you look through this, I don't know how well you can see, but I have so many like just broad goals, and I just feel like that was just too much for me. It was just too much, and then I went on and on even more about my goals there, and it was just about specific goals, and I just feel like it was just too much. I put too many numbers. It's like I want to visit at least 10 cities in California. What? I said I don't want to eat cheese 5 days out the week. I said like 1 million streams on my debut single. Like what? That's just too much information. It's just too much information, and there's no way that you can achieve all of that. I mean, there's a way. If you're crazy, there's a way, but I don't know, I just feel like it stilted me a lot. Also because I wasn't going back and looking at the fact that I wanted to visit 10 cities in California, you know? Like I wasn't going back and thinking that every day, like, oh, don't forget, you want to do this. Don't forget, you want to do that. Like, it was just too much for me to remember. And so that's why this year, I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it short and sweet. I made 8 overall goals. Some of them are more specific, like I want to release an EP this year. That one's pretty specific because it kind of has to be. But other ones are like just improve overall health, and then I went into detail about why I wanted to do that for me. Like me personally, I get really bad menstrual cramps, and so one of the reasons why I want to eat healthier and eat cleaner is to alleviate that. I want to improve my gut health. Like those are the reasonings behind why I want to eat healthy, work out more, things like that, move more. I still got pretty specific with these goals, but also like once you have those broader scopes of things that you want to do, I feel like it's just easier to remember. Like I remember that my goal is to release an EP. I remember that my goal is to eat cleaner. I remember that I want to be consistent and grow on socials. And the specificity part of that is just writing out how I'm going to do it essentially. I have a really bad habit of not remembering that the camera's going to shut off every so often. So we lost a little bit of film. It's all good. We didn't lose that much, but I was just gabbing. I was just talking and I didn't even think. So rewind. What I was saying was the main thing that I wanted to show you guys or talk to you about was my monthly updates. So what I did was at the end of every month or at the beginning of every new month, I would sit down and I would just write how I felt overall at the end of the month, what my goals looked like, or what I was doing to achieve those goals, or if I had achieved any, you know, just keeping track of how consistent I was being and what progress I was making. And like an example of that, we'll look at January. I'll put up the template for you guys in case anybody wants to copy it. Just make sure that you create it based off your goals, because our goals might look a little bit different. January, the date was February 1st that I made this, so it was like right after January ended. And I just included the time that I was writing it to. I feel like whenever I did it later in the day, I had less motivation to get into the specifics of it, but so I would recommend doing this in the morning when you first wake up. But my overall rating of the month, I included that. So January was a 9 out of 10, which is very, very good. Love a good 9 out of 10. January was a good month for me. And then from there, I just went down the row of all my goals and just described like how consistent I was with it or any progress that I made. So like my physical goals, so I said how many times I went to the gym that month, how many times I went running or walking that month. I had a section for school, like just updates about my classes and my grades, things like that. Then I had a section for work, which one of my goals last year was to get a job, which I actually did do that, so that's good. I achieved a goal. Then I went on to like my socials, follower count, just keeping track of my growth over the course of 12 months, and then how much I was posting as well, just to see how consistent I was. My goal, I think at that point, was to post a video a week, which that goal has changed. It's 2 videos per week now. But yeah, just keeping track of what videos I put out and how many subscribers I had. Same thing with Instagram, TikTok, Soundcloud. And then I really wanted to start up that Pinterest. And so like, this is a good example. Every month I would include Pinterest and I would say like, oh, I have this many followers. Haven't posted anything though. Like, I still haven't gotten on that. But next month. And then I would forget about it, or it wouldn't be like the biggest deal in my mind, and I just wouldn't do it. And I didn't do it until literally December. It took me 12 months to actually start actively pursuing this goal, and that's just not what we want, you guys. I did other stuff specific for me, like I have a music section, and then I have a personal relationship section where I just write how I feel about my friendships and making new friends and things like that. I have a travel section. Yeah, that's basically it. And then at the end I put leave any other updates here, which is kind of where I started just like writing a paragraph, or even less than that, maybe like a couple of bullet points about how I felt overall about the month, anything like major that may have happened to me. And yeah, just explaining where I was, where my mental state was, where I was with my goals, and just how I felt. So like, yeah, from there I did the same thing for every month, if you can see, just following the exact same template. It honestly was such a good practice for me. It helps me see where I was and see what areas of my life I needed to work on. That's ultimately it for why your goals aren't working and how to be more successful in 2024, I guess. I hate saying phrases like that because I don't think there's one trick that like everybody can do and that will just magically make you the richest person ever, the healthiest person ever, the smartest. Like it just is not true. It's just not true. And I'm not gonna clickbait anybody or say like I have all the answers. Genuinely, I am still trying to figure this out just like you guys are. And I don't know, it's fun to me though. It's fun. The challenge is fun, and I enjoy this time of year. You know, as much as people say like resolutions are stupid, I thrive off this time of the year just because I feel like it's a clean slate and it's just a time to really get intentional about what you want for yourself. And this doesn't just have to be a January thing. Like if you want to start getting your life together in October, feel free. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean that this is the end all be all. Like you can literally take these tips or your goals or whatever and start that at any time of year. Oh my god, Danger. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I will be back next Sunday with another video. And I'm also here every Wednesday with a cover. I'm gonna go take the dog out, but thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your goals. People in this house are so loud. They're so loud.